box. Danny Bono, shut the f*** up. Johnny Spotswood just don't know when to stop. Yeah, and if you don't like it, you better take your ass up to the snooty box, because this is the loud spot. Okay, see you later.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loud Spot. I'm your host, Sebastian, right out of Oklahoma City, and I got to do something here. Okay, I did something on my end. All right, we are hanging out with Joey Arena from the band Ovtlier. Yeah, I did say it right. It does have a V in it, but it is Ovtlier. And, you know, I'm sure you get asked this a million fucking times when you do podcast shows or whatever. Why the V? So I'm going to go ahead and be one of those generic guys and ask the same stupid question. And you're going to explain it for the 100th time, and that's okay.
All right. The explanation gets shorter and shorter every time, so it's good practice.
Okay, good.
2 reasons. 1, I'm all about the V. 2, the reason being is because back in Roman alphabet, Greek alphabet, there was no U in the alphabet. So there was no vowel U. The V acted as the harsh sound of a V and the vowel U. So I did it for branding. Korn with the K, Limp Bizkit, spelled all fucked up. I love it. It's, you know, with Google and everything now, at the time, the only thing that was out was the book, The Outliers. Plug in, it's a good book. Okay. But I wanted to be separated from that, and I wanted just a good Google search, and you could find everything on us and just do that. But
and in that sense, it is smart to do that, because if your name was just Ovtlier and you Googled it, who knows what else? I mean, I didn't Google it, but I'm sure a lot of other things might come up with a very similar name to that.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And on top of that too, it's like, you know, there's just having that branding, I think, is like a big thing, honestly, in today's days. And I just wanted to make it also confusing enough to where you do kind of fumble around trying to understand it and pronounce it and all that stuff. And then, I mean, you'll just remember it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, dude. And look, so Ava's not here tonight, and she doesn't need to defend herself because I was in the wrong. But she literally said, she goes, "I think they're called Ovtlier," and I said, "No, I don't think so." And then we sat there and talked about it for like 2 minutes or something on the phone, and she was like, "You're still talking about it?" And I was like, "Well, you're right. I am still talking about it." She goes, "So technically, it's a win for the band," and I was like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." So
that was it.
Kudos to you, Ivy. You're not here, and you didn't even have to defend yourself because you were right and I was wrong. Which is I'm typically wrong anyways, so I'm kind of used to it. All right, let's go back to. So you started the band, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so how did that whole thing start? Because we're gonna get into your other band also that you were in, but let's go and get the start of this band and how you got the members to join.
So if you're talking about the band before this band, so what had happened, I was in a band before this, and I wanted just to part ways with pretty much all the members. There was a lot of ego. We were not writing music for ourselves. There was a lot of hands in the pot. We started, you know, being under, you know, the umbrella of, you know, a major that I cannot discuss.
Right. And that band, we'll go ahead and say, was it Youngblood? Is that right?
Yeah. So that's the band. And, you know, I just, some of the guys, we just did not get along. And we did one tour, our last tour, and we actually broke up getting ready to go out on tour. Like, we used Cleveland as a halfway point, broke up on tour. And me and the guitar player, Chris, were like, you know what, let's not thrash our name with the promoters and the agents. So we went out and did an acoustic tour and kind of explained, like, briefly and diplomatically, like, why we're out doing acoustic. And then we got home. The stop ended in Cleveland. We're like, we're not ready to go home. Let's go to Florida. I don't want to think about music. So we just beeline for Florida spontaneously. And I didn't want to think anything. So, so we just kind of like just decompressed, took a break from music. And then I had this, like, I just went to the Gulf every day in Florida, and I just really was like doing some serious soul searching. I'm like, I need a break from music, but I need to get back to my roots of music. Like, who am I as a musician? Because guitar is my forte. I started playing guitar when I was 11, and then I became a vocalist. So I was always kind of like writing music, but as a front man, I would just playing live, I would always just be the vocalist.
So after you left Youngblood, which was really a different style.
Oh my God, so different.
Than Outliers. To me, it kind of reminded me of like that post-pop punk kind of emo.
Yeah.
I think you had a mullet in one of the music videos.
I did.
I was like, but back in 2008, like early 2000s, I was kind of coming back. Kind of a little bit. In Oklahoma it was, and I thought, I was like, I just moved here around that time, and I was like, people in Oklahoma still wear mullets, but I didn't realize that it was actually coming back into style at the same time I moved here. But Outlier is completely different. So is it fair to say that you were just finding yourself as a musician and really kind of discovering what you wanted to do music-wise in order to advance your career?
Yeah, man. Youngbloods was like, I had signed 4 shitty record deals in my life, and it just seemed to have gotten worse and worse and worse. And Outlier was a rebirth and of who I am as a musician. And I was like, dude, I picked up guitar because of Kurt Cobain. Like I got into music. My heroes in music are guys that were really like, fuck you. And that's really like the attitude that I kind of like what I was about. And I'm sitting here like I was playing into the suits. I was playing into what people wanted me to sound like. And whoever was like, I'll back you if you do this. And so when I was creating the record for Outlier, I kind of disbanded with Chris because it was very civil. It was very good. I was kind of like, yo, go do your thing. He kind of settled down a little bit in Connecticut with a girl at the time. And I was just driving to Cleveland for like a year and a half, writing and scratching. And then I'm with Evan, my producer. And then one night he goes out and I'm sitting there and I'm watching like just videos. Like, and I'm like, who am I? I just had this night of like, who the fuck am I? And dude, I turned on a video of Korn in Woodstock in 99. And I was just like, and I watched them play Blind live. And I was like, this is fucking heavy. This is the shit I grew up on. I is fucking NuMetal and grunge at heart through and through. Yeah. I'm so fucking 90s it hurts. I'm stuck in the 90s, dude. So like, so I was like, you know what? This is my roots. This is what makes me happy. I don't care if it's fucking cool. And I know NuMetal has made a comeback, but at that time, like when I started creating the record, it wasn't fucking cool yet. Right. And I was like, I don't care if it's cool. I just want to write for myself now and be happy again. So, Slipknot self-titled, Korn self-titled, Korn Life is Peachy. You got Deftones, Around the Fur, and Adrenaline. Like that's what I grew up on. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to date myself, but I'm going to take my influence and my inspiration from what really made me whole, especially as a guitar player, and my attitude towards music. And it's like, I don't care if people want me to sound like this or portray myself like that. So I wrote the record. And before I named the band Outlier, I was going to name the record Outlier, but I was like, fuck that. I want to get out of my contract. I no longer want to be affiliated with Youngbloods. This actually doesn't even sound like Youngbloods. I grew as a vocalist.
Sounds totally different. Real quick, I do want to say that Sam says Sebastian wonders that nightly, who am I? Sam's my producer. He's always making fun of me on the show. Don's in here. NuMetal has made a major comeback, and I have to admit, it is my favorite genre. Sharon put "Who Am I" moments. But yeah, dude. But anyways, continue. Go ahead, because NuMetal. I never thought it wasn't cool though. But I'm kind of a '90s dude, also. Like '90s was, and the older I get, it's almost like I don't want to get stuck in that, especially doing a podcast. I want newer bands, but Outlier doesn't sound. It's NuMetal for sure, but it doesn't have that. Even though you're inspired by a lot of '90s grunge and metal, you don't really have that sound. You guys have a really cool, and in fact, Bulletproof that we're gonna play later is like a fucking energetic, fast-paced, like in your face kind of song.
Sure. Yeah. And, and I'm glad you brought that up because being inspired by something does not I don't want to recreate what's already been done, but I'm also not trying to reinvent anything either. So really it's just more or less taking my favorite elements of rock and metal and just making it. And the biggest thing is I want to keep my listeners guessing what the next song is going to sound like. So I'm always throwing a fucking curveball. And when just interviews or people are like, so what would genre? I'm like, dude, it's rock / fucking metal. You go to FYE, it's rock metal. That's where you'll find me. I'm not one genre. I will take elements of gent. I'll take elements of prog. I'll take elements of metalcore, and I'll just do whatever the fuck I want, man, because that's really what it is. And it's really in the name. So before I named the band that, I was going to name the record Outlier, and then I sat and I literally read like Webster's definition of what an outlier is. I'm like, holy shit. If there's like one word to like sum up who I am and my way of thinking and everything about me, it's fucking outlier. It's like I march to the beat of my own drum. I don't have a religion. I don't identify with the politics. I don't give a fuck, man. And, and it's like,
I love that attitude, dude. I don't give a fuck either.
And it goes with people too, man. It's like, I don't care what you belong to. Like, it doesn't, like, I don't get emotionally invested into what somebody else does. It doesn't matter to me. And the people that I surround myself is all, I just go based on if they have good character and like how they treat me, and that's it. It's old school. I don't care what you believe, what you want, what you identify. It has none of my business, man. Like, that's all on you. And if you are happy and you accept yourself, that's all that fucking matters at the end of the day. And it does not matter what people think about you. So I don't give a fuck. And that's it. And I was like, this needs to be the name of the band, because I'm tired of like cool, catchy names that like I can't identify with. I can't like emotionally be like, yeah, that name is cool because of this. It's like, no, dude, it's just like, but I own a remodeling business too. So it's like,
right, you're a contractor, right?
Yeah. So like ultimately you want to name that kind of like, in my mentality, I always relate music to just owning a business, because it's a whole nother business. The same.
Right, absolutely it is. Yeah.
And your branding is a big thing. And it's just like, it's your business. It's your storefront. What do you want to call it? What represents you the best? And that's it. So
do you feel like being in your other previous bands and having some shitty deals brought you to this realization of fuck everyone, I'm doing something for me? And that, and that's a big growing part of, like, for people's lives in general, when not even at the time it was negative, but maybe later on in life, like, maybe it had negative impacts at the time, but you learn from your mistakes or downfalls. Yeah. And that's when you kind of shed that, like, whatever, dude, I'm doing my own shit. And that's awesome, dude.
I try to be as optimistic as possible with everything. Every setback, man, there is a reason for it. There is a lesson to be learned in every single thing. And if you look at it like, why is this happening? Or why is it doing this? Or why is it taking long? Or what? It's like, dude, there's a reason. Your time will come when you just got it. Dude, it's just keep fucking going. There is no timeline. Just do what makes you happy again and stay true to yourself. And that's it. So if it wasn't for those setbacks, honestly, I would have gotten lost in the mix-up. Honestly, I wouldn't have had the soul-searching moment and got back to what I love. And
everything that's negative, I hate when people get shit on and they think, oh, fuck, this is the end. I'm like, take that shit that you just learned and don't take it as shit. Take it as a stepping stone and learn from it, because you're never going to go back to that time where you felt like that, like so badly. So everything negative always turns into a positive. At least that's my mentality. And if that's everyone's mentality, that's how we grow as human beings, man. Dawn wants to ask a question. Sure. She did say, which I think we kind of talked about already, but what positive lesson did you bring from past experience? She's tough, man. She's tough.
No, it's a great question. I just think that there's a lot of positive lessons. I think my favorite one that I learned, though, is to learn to let go. And it's really being a musician, anybody with art and a business owner, I'm sure you may possibly be able to relate. There's a certain level of control that kind of comes with things. Yeah. And it's like, again, controlling a moment, controlling the process, controlling the progress, like a lot of it. And it's, I learned to the music industry is filled with more heartbreak than positivity. So it's like, brace yourself for impact, but also at the same time, do not, like, what's meant to be is meant to be. So learning to let